Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do a really fun video. I'm doing this makeup look, but this video idea came to be because a lovely subscriber of mine asked if I was going to buy the Face Candy Atlantis palette, which I talked about in one of my beauty wish lists. So if you didn't see that one, I will link it up above for you. But it's a really beautiful palette with lots of gorgeous blues and greens. It was sort of, you know, a little bit of a rip off of the Tarte what was it called? Icy Betch palette. That was basically their like April Fool's joke. So Face Candy has this palette now called the Atlantis palette that's sort of inspired by those colors. And so anyway, the subscriber asked me if I was going to purchase this palette, and if so, could I do a look with it? And so I wrote her back and I said, you know, I don't really think that I'm going to, because I had kind of decided that I wasn't going to pick that one up after thinking about it and going back and forth on it for a little bit. And I said, but you know, I bet that I could kind of pull some shadows from my own collection and sort of come up with a look inspired by that palette. Would you be interested in seeing that? And she said yes. So that's what this is. So I think the whole lesson in this is that you don't have to buy every single palette. You know, when you're watching tutorials and you're watching people talk about palettes, I mean, sure, you can buy every single one, but you don't need to. And, you know, you can definitely be a little more choosy, especially if you look through your collection and see what you can find. This may not be exactly, you know, what I could create with the Atlantis palette, but it probably would be pretty similar. You know, I tried to pick shadows that were close enough, and, you know, it's hard because I was looking at a bunch of different swatches and then looking at my colors and swatching my colors and looking at the ones that I saw. And so many of the swatches look really different. And so it's hard to kind of compare them because you're looking at, you know, swatches in daylight and swatches with artificial lighting and all of that. So it's hard, but I did my very best and I hope that you like it. So if you want to see how to get this eye look, then just keep on watching. So I'm going to use, for the most part, I think, the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette, just because it has a lot of those blue and green tones that I need. I might go in and use a couple other things that I pulled just to sort of match some of the colors that I see, but the fact is this is not the same palette. You know, even if I just use this palette, obviously it's not the Atlantis palette. So the idea is that I'm going to kind of use the colors as inspiration, and I'm going to, you know, get them as close as I possibly can. I may mix a couple of these to do that. So this should be a lesson to all of you. I think that, you know, you don't necessarily need to buy every single palette to do some of the looks that you see people do. You know, I've gone back and forth on whether or not I want to buy this palette. And part of my feeling of why I wanted to buy it was because I've never tried that brand, but also it's only $14, but it's still $14. So if I don't need it, I really shouldn't buy it. I don't know. I thought I'd see what I can accomplish without buying that palette, and I can give myself a reason not to buy something else new. So I haven't primed my eyes yet because I did my whole face earlier during my daughter's nap when I normally film, and then just the timing didn't work out. And so I figured, well, I'll try and film later. And so I just kind of left my eyes alone and figured I'd come back to them. So I'm going to prime my eyes and then I will go into my shadow. You may be able to hear my daughter playing with my husband downstairs because he is being very, very kind and playing with her so that I can do a little bit of filming at this time, which I normally don't do. I think I'm going to do kind of a bluish crease. And I think I'm going to combine these two blues because the blue, the darker blue that's in that palette is sort of a mixture of those two, I feel like. So that's what I'm going to do. Obviously, these are very pigmented shadows. They're very nice. And I know this palette, you know, you can't get it anymore, but you know, I kind of wanted to go along with the idea that you don't need a specific palette to create a look. So, you know, if you feel like you want to create this look, then maybe buy the Atlantis palette. I mean, it is a lot of the similar tones. Obviously, this palette has a lot of other things going on. You know, I'm kind of going to try and create a similar look that I would maybe create with that palette. And if you did get this palette, the Atlantis palette that is, and you really like it and you think that it is worth getting, then definitely let me know. But I know one of my friends who's a subscriber as well, she can chime in down in the comments, but you know, she got it and was telling me that that she was having a little bit of trouble blending. So it's not to say that you couldn't make it work. And you know, sometimes with shadows that are really pigmented, you have to be a little more careful, but you can see like I'm not being super light-handed with these, and they're very pigmented, but yet they're still blending out. I mean, look, they're, you know, those palettes from Shop Hush and, you know, all their products are pretty inexpensive. And so, you know, in some ways you get what you pay for. I mean, it's not to say that it's not going to be good, but it may not be as good of quality as something that you spend a little more money on. I actually don't know if I'm going to be purchasing Kat Von D going forward. I mean, I have her stuff, and so I'm certainly not going to not use it. I mean, I bought it. If you haven't seen what's been going on, just to briefly go over it, she was posting on Instagram about her baby. She's pregnant and how she's not going to vaccinate her baby. And the internet just kind of went up in arms about it for good reason. And, you know, it's fine for her to do whatever she wants. I mean, it's not really fine. It's really dangerous. But my issue is that it's really dangerous and irresponsible of her to use her really large platform and a large pool of people who follow her to spread, you know, false information and things that are really just her opinion and that are coming from, you know, very biased types of articles. You know, she's saying that she read a bunch of articles and stuff. And yeah, there are articles about everything, but it's not going to be really science-based. And vaccinations are really, really important, and it can be really, really scary for people to not vaccinate their kids, especially it's even scarier for people who, you know, they interact with. You know, my daughter's been getting her vaccinations, but of course she doesn't have them all yet because she's still young. And it could be scary, you know, for her to come into contact with somebody who hasn't been vaccinated and who might be able to spread something to her. So it's just not, I just feel like she's being really irresponsible and arrogant. And that's my opinion. I mean, I don't want to like get into arguments with anybody about it, but that's how I feel about it. And I just don't know how I feel about supporting her and therefore her brand. And it makes me sad because I really do love her products, but I don't know. I'm just not sure how I feel about that. I mean, she's done things in the past and this just kind of is another one. And I just don't know how I feel about it. So I'm not totally sure if I'm like going to not buy her products for, you know, forever or what I'm going to do. But just as of right now, I don't feel really super comfortable supporting her. So that's that. All right, so I'm going to kind of leave that as it is right now. We may mess with it a little bit more later. Then I think I'm going to put a little bit of this shade right here, which is a little more of like a teal color, which I think matches one of the colors that's in there. I'm going to put that on sort of the first part of my lid, and I may add like a shimmer on. So I'm going to see. It's funny because this ends up looking pretty similar to what I did in my crease just because of the fact that I mixed them. So there you go. Maybe I'll add a green on the lid and then I'll do a different blue on the lower lash line. Maybe I'll do that. So I have some of these Makeup Geek foiled shadows, so I think I'm going to use one of those. Or I could use this one from the Kat Von D palette as well. So I have the shade Epic from Makeup Geek, which is that one. That's pretty. And then there's the shade Lemmy. So they're pretty similar. I think I like the Makeup Geek one better though. So I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna see how this does without a base, because if I use my finger, then I can probably not get too much fallout. Well, these Makeup Geek foiled shadows are really nice. All right, so I'm just gonna blend out those edges a little bit. And I think I will do some kind of liner there as well. So I'm gonna do that off camera and I'll be right back. All right, so now let's do the lower lash line. I'm gonna add a navy blue liner to the bottom here. And then I think I'm actually going to take another shade because I want something brighter and shimmery for the bottom, I think. Or do I want to do more? Maybe I'll do blue and green because why not? So I think I'm going to take, sorry, I'm taking like a bunch of different things, but you know, that's the thing. I think when you are trying to sort of dupe a palette or sort of use inspiration from a palette that you don't own, you can just kind of pull from different things, pull from different palettes that you have, pull from singles, you know, just make it work. So I'm going to take the shimmery blue from the Masquerade mini palette called Chi. I'm gonna take that, and then I'm gonna also take a green in here, I think. Maybe I'll take the green that I put on my lid. I think I'll take this green, which I don't know if these match up exactly, but you know what? It's fine. It's all good. So what if they don't? I'm using it as inspiration. So, you could probably create a similar look with the palette, even if it's not exactly the same. All right, so I'm gonna take this blue, which I think I am going to spray. Do that on the outer part here. And I kind of put it underneath the wing too. I sort of dragged it up there just because I thought it would look pretty. And so then I'm gonna wipe off my brush and I'm gonna go into this green, just because I wanna use something else different. So it's called Misfit. And this one I'm not gonna wet, at least at first. Yeah, I like that. I'm just gonna take a highlight from this palette. You can use any highlight that you want, from any palette, honestly. Do I want to use something green? I know what I want to use. I want to use something that's not in this palette. Hold on. It's actually a highlighter from Luxie, but you can use it as an eyeshadow. It's called Voodoo, and it's got like a green reflect to it. So I think I'm gonna wet it because we just want it to be nice and vibrant, All right, let's see. Yeah, that's pretty, huh? I'm gonna do my lashes. I'm gonna figure out something for my lips, and I'll be back. All right, everyone, so that is the completed look. What do you think? I'm really excited about this look. I think it was fun, and it was a good challenge to sort of try and recreate the colors from the Atlantis palette, because I didn't want to buy it just to do a video. I felt like I could probably find colors that are similar. They're maybe not going to be the exact same, but it's close enough for me. So you don't always have to buy every single palette that comes out. There are so many all the time. Even if they're cheap, it still doesn't mean you have to buy it. If you like this video, please make sure and give me a big thumbs up. That really does help out my channel so much. If you are not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. I would love for you to stick around, and I really hope to see you next time. Bye.